May none but noble and wise men rule under this roof. That is what our second president of the United States, John Adams, wrote on the White House desk. Those words being so important that Franklin Delano Roosevelt took those same exact words and had them carved into the fireplace and the White House. May none but noble and wise men rule under this roof. Those words have kind of been known as the passing of power between one presidential administration to another. Whether it be Democrat or Republican, those passing of powers or the passing of power has been very important inside of American history. The reason why it's so important is because it's important for us to understand the consent of citizens. That is directly connected inside of our preamble and the freedoms that make up our country. Now, we all are aware of what happened on January 6th. It was not our brightest time, but also what it does represent, that it represents a leader who did not fully understand that by not acknowledging the consent of the people, meaning that he was no longer declared the president or the winner of the election, he was actually destroying consent of the governed. So the reason why passing of the power is so important is because we want to make sure that we are passing from one person to another. When I first voted, I was a little disappointed in democracy because my candidate did not win. It was the election of Gore versus Bush. Now, that election did have some contention that was in it, especially connected to the state of Florida and hanging chads and all these really insane things that went on. But eventually, Al Gore had to recognize the importance of the consent of the public, and he said, you know what, I lost the election, I concede the election, and of course Bush went on to be our president for not just that term, but also another term following that. Sometimes it's difficult to admit that you have lost, right? You try your best in things and they don't go the way that you want them to go, but it's important to always remember that the people are more important than the person. You cannot be American and you cannot be viewed as a leader if you view yourself as being more important than the general public. That's why the consent of the public is very important. It's a major form of democracy. For those that are taking, of course, 12th grade government or any type of AP government, it's something that we dive into a lot about understanding the importance of the consent of the governed. Like when we vote, we are giving consent to say that this person is our leader. It's a part of a social contract that we all agree to. Whether or not we like the person that won or not, whether or not the candidate is a person that we picked, we should always offer our consent until that person proves that they are incapable of doing that job. And then, of course, there's a legal proceeding that happens along with that as well, too. But overall, our job is always, or your job as a presidential candidate, whether you're running for re-election or you are just transitioning any power in any elected position, is the importance of understanding consent. Your consent says, you know what, the people have picked me, I will accept, or the people did not pick you, and you move from there. Hope that this has been helpful, and thanks a lot for your kind heart and your listening ears.